everyone, and welcome to today's morning update, aka hello, everyone, and good morning, and welcome to today's live feed update. It was a long night. I'm your host, Taran Armstrong, and with me today is Maggie. How you doing, Maggie?
Hi, I'm good. You know, I actually was up late, like to the end of the podcast last night, but I went to bed right away when the feeds went down and woke up early this morning hoping to catch everything I missed. And I did, because when I woke up, I'm on East Coast time. When I woke up, they were like still having one-on-ones. I was like, what is happening? This is wild. So I'm good. Last night was so good. It was so fun. It was like perfect Big Brother double eviction, I felt. So I'm ready to talk about it.
There you go. That's you had the right strategy last night, because they were up for a while. We are here, of course, to update you on everything that happened yesterday, aka last night, aka this morning on the Big Brother 24 live feeds. It was day 65. But if we're being real, we're talking about the very early wee hours of the morning of day 66.
Yeah, we're talking about 6 a.m. on day 66.
Yeah, but technically it's day 65, or I mean, not technically. It's spiritually, it's day 65.
Spiritually, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and that's because there's really not much to talk about prior to the eviction, the double eviction. Terrence was practicing his speech, but not much else was really going on there. We headed into the double eviction. Of course, Terrence was evicted. We then had the HOH competition. Turner wins. Maybe Michael should have taken Turner out. Who knows? And then Monty wins the veto. And despite the fact that they went on this whole detour about a gentleman's agreement, they did not end up actually holding to the gentleman's agreement, primarily because, in my opinion, Taylor was really prodding Monty. We talked about this. I talked about this a couple days ago. She was having this weird conversation with Monty 3 days ago now, where she was like, so you're still targeting Michael, right? And he was like, yeah, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to be the target, blah, blah, blah. Or as Monty would say, blase, blah. I wouldn't want something to happen, this, that, and the third. And would you do it? Well, yeah, I think you should do it. Like, I don't know. And then 2 days ago now, 2 days ago now, sorry, that was 4 days ago now, the previous one. 2 days ago now, Taylor talked again to Monty, said again, so Michael, you're going to target Michael, right? And he was like, oh, yeah, totally. I mean, I wouldn't want to be the target if I did, though. And she was like, you wouldn't be. You've got me. You know you got me. He's like, well, if everyone was on board with it, she's like, everyone will be on board with it. He's like, oh, and he talked to Terrence about it. Then he talked to Turner about it. He convinced Turner to do it. And then it happened. Michael was evicted last night. And that was the double eviction.
Oh, it was so juicy, though. Michael made such a moment of it. He made that speech that just blindsided Brittany. At the end of the episode, after Michael had finished with Julie, and Julie was like, let's go and eavesdrop on the house guests. And they're all sitting there, and Brittany is full sobbing about what happened. And Taylor's sitting there like rubbing her back, like, it's okay. My roommate looked over at me and he was like, oh, Taylor is like, it's okay. You're going to sit right next to me in the final 2 chairs. Everything's going to be just fine. And it was really thrilling. Like, I can't remember the last time I was that excited during a double eviction. And also, I wanted to say, like, this gentleman's agreement, I feel like this happens all the time, and they're like never honored. Like Cliff and Jackson's,
just last season.
Yes, exactly. And Cliff and Jackson's like handshake gentleman's agreement. Like most of the time, these gentleman's agreements are, for the moment, not for the long haul.
They usually last
the
just
agreement part.
Yeah, they usually last just long enough for one party to betray the other, and then that party win the game.
Well, we'll see what happens this time.
We'll see. Yes, Michael is evicted. We head to the feeds came back before they played in the next HOH. Brittany was very upset with Michael throwing her under the bus. She was like, did he never care about me at all? What even happened? She's very upset that he threw her under the bus like that. He apparently told everyone that she was lying about her career and who she was. Yeah, she's not in a good spot, not in a good place.
She's like going around to Taylor and to Turner, each being like, "You're all I have left. You're the only thing I have left in the game." She's very, very rattled. And everybody else, though, is really, really just like decompressing. They were only on feeds for an hour before they started the HOH comp. And most of that time was just like decompressing the fact that they had just played, two huge comps, and Michael, the whole, show of it that he made when he was leaving. Like, they all sort of needed a second. And Brittany was very, very upset for sure.
Yeah. Alyssa and Monty both talked about how they felt like Michael would have won the competition if his belt had not broken, which may or may not be true. But
I would like to believe that if that was true, Michael would have made a huge stink about it. Like, I don't think Michael would have just been like, it's okay. Something super unfair happened to me, and now I've lost out on the shot of my dream. Like, I think that there would have been perhaps some outrage from him, either talking to Julie, being, because he was like, oh, yeah, well, I didn't win tonight. But I would like to think that if the reason that he really lost is because his thing broke off, he would have been like, well, yeah, if I hadn't had a faulty, I think, I don't know. That's
I mean,
sort
his
of
thing
my
definitely
take.
broke off, and it definitely slowed him down. Just a matter of like, would he have won without it? I don't know.
And for sure, the like, Monty was like, yeah, and I had to watch to make sure that didn't happen to me. So I think more than like it was unfair that Michael's was broken, like Michael's was faulty. It was more like he shouldn't have run so hard and broke it off. Like, that was something within the
Eh.
competition you needed to be aware of. That's how they were talking in the house, though. Like, I'm
Well,
recounting
yeah.
the way that they were talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, again, there's no world where this gets reset. But just again, they're running competitions where things are breaking, things are happening live. They can't even film the thing properly. Like, so much criticism needs to be landed on production for everything about these live competitions. They continue to fail. What are they doing?
I feel like this is Taryn's line every time production does they try like anything all season. Taryn's been like, they continue to fail with the twist. They continue to fail with the live production. And I only hear facts coming out of your mouth. So
Do better.
exactly.
Okay. So Taylor is going to talk to Brittany, say, look, we need to win. We need to win. We can't let Monty and Turner run away with the game. We need to win. It's very important to win this HOH. Got to do it.
Mwah, 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 mwah.
They're going to compete in the HOH. And Monty wins the final 5 HOH. Just like that, Monty wins. It was apparently the like dark, can't see anything. Gotta go do things. It's timed. It was horror themed. Taylor apparently had to like just quit, stop. It was too scary. And Brittany was apparently 9 seconds away from beating Monty, but did not make it.
Which is wild. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. She must be so devastated. But yeah, and Taylor is not a horror movie person. She doesn't like haunted houses. Me either, Taylor. I totally, totally feel you. I can't watch most movies because they're too scary. And so she did. She timed out. And when they came back, she was like, Taylor, you're in the house. You're safe. She was like affirming to herself that she was okay because she alluded to the fact that she sort of had a panic attack in there. Um, and yeah, Monty's the HOH.
Look, all I'm going to say, last person, I believe, to quit a horror-themed competition, Tamar.
Tamar?
That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. She did go on to win the game. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm really hopeful. I'm excited to hear. Well, I'm excited to see how the rest of the week plays out, and I'm excited to hear all of you guys on the roundtable next week because I feel like the game with Michael gone has just broken wide open. Of course, with Monty winning this HOH, it narrows it down a little bit more, but he can't compete in the final 4 HOH, which I do think if things fall out in a certain way this week is where there's lots of opportunity for things to go Taylor's way.
As far as I'm concerned, not to get too ahead of ourselves here, the game is now Monty or Taylor. One of the two of them are going to win unless Turner wakes up and decides he actually wants to win and not take Monty to the end. Right? Like, then it's a 3-way race. But until then, I think it's Taylor versus Monty. And, we'll see how things go. As of right now, Monty does not seem to intend to target Taylor. He is going to have some one-on-ones through the night. He's going to start with Alyssa, and he's going to tell her that he is leaning toward targeting Brittany. But he needs someone to go up next to her. He doesn't feel comfortable putting up Turner or Taylor because of the relationships that have formed and what might happen if they stay up there. So he's thinking Alyssa might need to be his pawn, but he wants to know if she hears anything about people targeting him next week. That's big for him. If people start saying his name this week, things are fluid. Things can change. She says she understands. She hopes that she can be an asset to him and Turner moving forward. She hopes that she doesn't go home.
Yeah, I think she could have pushed back quite a bit harder here, but she just sort of was like, okay, I trust you.
I mean, I don't think there's any convincing Monty to put up Turner or Taylor right now.
Sure, right now. I don't know. There's a lot of things that she could have done last week, perhaps, but, coulda, woulda, shoulda. She's here. I don't think well, actually, I don't know. Does Monty send her home over Brittany?
Well, that's the whole crux of this update.
Yep. Okay.
We'll talk about it. So one thing I thought was funny about Monty's conversations, it starts here. He talks about, like, if anybody says anything about me, let me know. Which is so funny coming from Monty because, of course, Monty, the king of talking about the HOH while they're HOH and how they need to go, is worried that other people might do that to him because now Michael's gone and the prophecy was fulfilled. And so if anyone starts talking about him, then, they got to go.
Exactly. Please rat them out to me. Please. I'll take you off the block.
Yeah. Monty's going to talk to Brittany. And Brittany is going to make a lengthy pitch. First, she's going to explain about the Michael saying that she had a bunch of final twos. She says, look, it was the case that I had a lot of final twos, but most of them were ones that came to me. I didn't initiate these. First of all, I did have a final two with Alyssa. She pitched it to me. She also pitched a final three with Michael. Yes. She also pitched a final three with Taylor. Also, yes. Her game plan, Brittany says, her game plan was has always been to stay with Brochella. Brochella, all the way. She's always been into what Taylor wants as the final three, which is her, Taylor, and Monty. The only other person she talked to, of course, was Turner. Turner is someone she talked to last week. She saw him as an asset to get Michael out. That's the only reason she talked with him. She really did think that her and Turner were in the same bad place with the jury. Not anymore now that Turner's taken out Michael, but she's still in a bad place with the jury. But that's all that conversation was. So that's the final two stuff.
Do you think that Turner is in a bad place or is in a better place with the jury now that he took out Michael? Or
Yeah, a better
yeah,
place for sure.
okay,
I personally like if I'm on the jury and I'm thinking about like, okay, who took out Michael? Who gets the credit? I'm going to give more credit to Monty
same.
for actually beating Michael in the competition than
Mm-hmm.
Turner, who just won the HOH.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? The jury, it's going to be how the jury feels. And I think the jury is going
Yeah.
to feel better about Monty anyway.
That's
He's
what
been
I was gonna say.
yeah,
I feel like they can ascribe that move to whoever they're like feeling more,
yes,
because it's
exactly.
equally shared. So yeah.
And Monty has a great jury presence right now. He's been a very consistent presence throughout the game. He's always stood in the same place. People have come for him. They've called him out as the big threat to win, and he's still stayed there. He hasn't had to lie to too many people. The only person he's really burned so far now is Michael, and I think
Mm-hmm.
everyone gets that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's in a very good place. Turner, I think, would be fine against certainly Alyssa at this point, certainly Brittany. I think he'll have trouble against Monty, who just has had a better presence throughout the game. Turner, everyone, there's a lot of talk about how Turner is easily manipulated. I think the way that all went down in the double eviction, everyone saw that Turner was conflicted and that Monty was probably the person pushing it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to hurt him if he's up against Monty. And then up against Taylor, I think Turner has a chance because I don't know that people really understand the role that Taylor played in Michael's eviction, nor is the jury ever likely to really find out. However, Taylor, of course, has a great story. Turner does not have great relationships with people like Jasmine,
Yeah.
people like Indy. So, I do feel like Taylor still probably beats Turner as well. But
Definitely. I
that
think
may
if
depend.
Taylor's
Turner could like comp out from here, and maybe that would change things.
Yeah, but I think that like Taylor would have Michael, Brittany, Jasmine, Indy, Joseph, and that's all she would need.
Yeah,
So
I think so too. Yeah.
it's locked in.
Um, I said this last night. I feel like Taylor and Monty, top two picks to win, followed by Turner, then Alyssa and Brittany right now.
Yeah.
In terms of jury votes, and also in general.
Mm-hmm.
So Brittany goes on to talk about how the only person she's heard putting Monty's name out there as a target is Alyssa. It's true. I feel like I'm a fact checker lately with how many people are just like lying,
You're
saying people are lying.
I get on here sometimes, Taran, and I'm like, well, they said this. Taran, is that true? Like I like straight up will just be like, you would know. Is that true? You're my fact checker for sure.
This is true. Alyssa has talked about targeting Monty, and she is, other than Brittany herself, the only
Mm-hmm.
person who's actively talked about targeting Monty. Granted, Brittany would target and has talked about targeting Turner before Monty, so this is mostly true. She says if Monty takes Alyssa out this week, next week Turner will be coming for her and Taylor, while her and Taylor are going for Turner. So that's probably her best argument because I think it's true, and I think that it is probably the best path for Monty moving forward. I think he hears this. I think he is considering it, but can't be 100%.
Yeah. And his final Yeah, I think that the one thing that really stuck out to me with all of Monty's talks in the wee hours of the morning was that he kept saying, like, this week is fluid. This week is fluid. Like, I'm open to a couple of different things. And I do think he genuinely meant it. I mean, much more so when he's talking to people like Turner and Taylor than when he's talking to Brittany. But I do think that he's like, I'm wanting to know everything so that I have the correct information moving forward.
Yep. She says, full transparency, Michael and I did have a final three with Taylor, but I think her preference has always been to go to final three with us, you and me. I think that's always where her heart has been in terms of what she actually wants to do.
Mhm.
Monty says, okay, I hear all of this. Thank you. I am feeling like Alyssa could be the target here, but I'm going to need a pawn to go up next to her. Brittany is like, well, I would love to not be the pawn. Don't want to do that, but I understand if I have to be.
Mhm.
They're going to go on to talk for a while longer. Brittany's going to explain how she's an asset. She can win comps for him moving forward, so on and so forth. Eventually, the conversation has to come to a close because it's not going anywhere. But that is basically the conversation with Brittany. So basically, Monty said to Alyssa, Brittany's the target. I need you to go up as the pawn. And he said to Brittany, Alyssa's the target. I'm going to need you to go up as the pawn.
And while he's talking to Brittany, Turner, Alyssa, and Taylor are all sitting outside of the HOH room comparing notes of what Brittany said to them since Michael has left, and realize that she said the exact same thing to both Turner and Taylor. And both of them are like, Brittany, doing Brittany things again. Turner is much more aghast at this than Taylor is, but they are all comparing notes.
Yes. And so when Turner goes in to talk to Monty, first he's like, that could not have gone better. Oh my God. Yes. Then he says, guess what we found out? Brittany has already pitched 2 new final 2 deals with both me and Taylor tonight. It's like, I don't know, we got that far. Like final 2 deal. She's just like, oh, you're the only person I have left in this game. Monty says, oh yeah, she was just in here still lying to me, still trying to make it seem like she only talked to you about taking a shot at Michael and not like she was trying to make a final 2 deal with you, saying that people were making final 2 deals with her. She still can't admit it. She's still just lying. So Turner's like, so you're targeting Brittany. Monty's like, yeah. But I want to let things ride this week. I want to kind of like, we're going to let it flow. He says, next week, I'm relying on you, Turner. I'm relying on you because I can't play in that HOH. Turner says, I got you. I got you. Monty says, I just want to see what people say this week. I want to make sure that make sure you tell me if you hear anything, if you hear anybody saying my name, because things can always change. And look, the veto is won. Taylor goes up. We can have that conversation, especially if she does say my name. But the only way I can do it is if I'm forced to. I can't do it otherwise.
How fun is it to have like such a fluid final 5 in the way where like Monty is sort of like whatever happens kind of happens. Like I'm open to what the week brings rather than walking into the week being like this has to happen. Like they had the moment in the double eviction of like if this does not happen, I'm going to lose. So now he can walk into this week and be like, okay, I'm less concerned about what happens and more concerned about how it happens and how I navigate through that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, this is I like what Monty's doing here. Obviously, he has to be a little careful because he basically, as I said, tells Alyssa Brittany's the target. He tells Brittany Alyssa's the target. He tells Turner Brittany's the target, and we can take out Taylor if you make me. I wouldn't mind. He's later gonna tell Taylor Alyssa's the target, and don't worry, we can take out Turner if you make me. I don't mind. Literally every single person he has told a different thing to.
Mhm.
Hopefully they don't compare notes would be the thing. But so far it's going all right. Basically what he's telling Turner here, and this is important to note, it's the final 5. Monty plans to nominate Brittany and Alyssa, That means that Taylor and Turner are the only two people who are voting this week. 2 votes. Monty will break a tie if they disagree. However, how the veto will work is that if Turner or Taylor, one of the two people off the block, win the veto, they can use the veto on one of the nominees and force Monty to nominate the only other available player for nomination, and that is the other person off that was off the block. So, for instance, Brittany and Alyssa on the block. If Taylor wins the veto, she can use the veto on Brittany and force Monty to nominate Turner next to Alyssa. Then Brittany and Taylor can vote out Turner over Alyssa. Turner can do the same thing. If Turner wins the veto, he can use it on Alyssa, and then him and Alyssa can vote out Taylor over Brittany, or they can still just vote out Brittany if they want. Either way, it would force Monty's hand, and that's what he's telling Turner. If you use the veto and force me to put up Taylor, then whoops, my hands are tied. I don't get any blood. I'm fine with that.
Yep. And I saw someone in the chat ask, like, is the Ladies Alliance going to come back together? I think if veto goes the way that I personally wanted to, and Taylor wins, I definitely think that those conversations will start happening again. And even before veto, I think that if Monty puts up Alyssa and Brittany the way that he's saying he's going to, those conversations will for sure start happening again with Taylor, but maybe less locked in because the veto hasn't been played yet. So I think that they're, like I said earlier, it's all just very fluid in terms of they just sort of have to see who's going to win.
Mm-hmm. So Monty's also going to talk to Taylor. They also celebrate. And he lets her know that Brittany and Alyssa are going up. She asks, okay, well, who's the target? He says, well, Alyssa's the bigger jury threat. Brittany is a bigger comp threat. I'm leaning toward evicting Alyssa, but I want to let things ride. He says that he's been most transparent with her and Turner. And he tells her about his conversation with Brittany. They kind of like make fun of her for being so bad at the game. He says that he feels like Turner has a weird attachment to Alyssa. So he seems to really want Brittany out, Turner. And she asks him, like, oh, well, how are you feeling about Turner? Like, what about targeting Turner? He says, can't do that. I need Turner here as a shield moving forward into next week. But if the veto is won and Turner is forced on the block, there's nothing I can do. I'd be fine with that. And she's like, okay. And they agree. They both agree. They're all in together. The two of them.
And like you said earlier, like hopefully nobody compares notes. Maybe that's why Monty has been drilling into their heads. If anybody's talking about me, tell me. Please don't just compare notes and not tell me.
Yeah. So that's basically the update, right? Monty tells 4 different people 4 different things. It's, I guess, our job to try and figure out which is the most truthful. If I had to guess, I think that Monty is most truthful with Taylor. I think that he is leaning toward evicting Alyssa, primarily because of what Brittany said to him, whether it was her that put it in his head or if he was already thinking this. But Alyssa is kind of more with Turner than she is with him. And if Alyssa leaves, then Brittany and Taylor are targeting Turner before Monty, and Turner is targeting Taylor and Brittany before he turns on Monty. Now, the problem, of course, is that Turner can and very well could win that Final Four HOH. And if he leaves both Taylor and Brittany in the game, they will likely take out Monty before each other if they were to win the Final Four veto. Whereas if Turner wins that HOH and it's Alyssa and Taylor, I think Taylor probably evicts Alyssa over Monty, although I don't think even that's a guarantee. At least she's more likely to.
Yeah, and Alyssa for sure evicts Monty over Taylor. So
Yeah.
I think that that's sort of like, yeah, I do think though for Monty's game, of course, like what I like, I'm hardcore rooting for Taylor to win this thing. Like I'm like, we got to ride it out to the end, girl. But I think that for Monty's game, it makes so much more sense for him to ride it out with Turner over Taylor, because Turner will take him to the final two. If he's in final three with Brittany, Turner, if it's final three is Brittany, Turner, and Monty, like Monty wins. You know, it's Xavier from last season. But I that final four is the crux of it, right? It's like the most danger for him if Turner's in the game, because Turner has such a strong chance of winning that final four HOH and being immune.
Yeah. So I think personally, I think the move is to take out Alyssa.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's because I do think that Brittany is a stronger competitor, and
Mhm.
but still a competitor that Monty can beat. But at least it gives if Turner, Alyssa, and Taylor are competing in the final four HOH, Turner has a better chance to win than if Turner, Brittany, and Taylor are competing in the final four HOH. Because Brittany winning that final four HOH is fine. It's anybody other
Yeah.
than Turner winning, and Monty's good.
Uh-huh.
Again, Brittany, Taylor will take out Turner. Turner will take out Brittany or Taylor. Perfect. His
It's
worst
the
case scenario is Turner winning that final four.
It's the Jackson telling Holly to jump off because I need you as an option to go home and you can't be
Mm-hmm.
HOH. It's that exact same scenario that he would be in if Turner's there. And you're right. Yeah, you're totally right. I hadn't thought of it that way, that if he keeps the better competitor, that could possibly beat Turner in the HOH. Like, because if Brittany or Taylor's HOH, he's fine, because if he wins veto, he's safe, obviously. If Turner wins veto, he's not evicting Monty. And if the remaining person wins veto, they're going to evict Turner.
Yep. So that's kind of like the ideal scenario. Obviously, a lot of people I think are going to be looking at Monty to take out Turner. I don't think he should.
I don't
Because
either.
I agree with him that Turner's a good shield for him at four. I think if he takes out Turner here, there's no chance that all three of Alyssa, Brittany, and Taylor don't take the shot at Monty if they have it at four. I mean,
Absolutely.
even like Taylor's the person that would hesitate the most. But if you're Taylor and you're sitting there at the final four and you can choose between evicting Alyssa or Brittany or Monty heading into the
Yeah.
final three, come on. You're definitely not doing that. So I think he does need Turner there, especially because I do think that Turner, especially a Turner without Alyssa, would stay loyal to Monty at least through
Mhm.
four. Maybe at three, if he can choose between Monty and Brittany, he might be like, okay, sorry, bro. But I don't think he would turn as early as four. He's just too scared of a player.
I don't
Um,
think that he turns on Monty. I
I
don't see him
agree. I
turning
agree
at
for the most
all.
part. He talked last night too about like he doesn't respect those players that take weak people to the end. Like, I would be interesting to
You
look at
mean the
his
winners?
preseason interview. Yeah, to see what his answer to that question was because I don't remember it. But um,
Yeah, you don't
yeah,
respect the winners of the game? Because 99% of the time, there's only one time in the history of Big Brother that the person has taken the perceived like weak person to the end and lost.
yeah. That's how I see it, at least. I think that's mostly how he's seeing it as well.
Mhm.
I think so. That's again. I think that he is leaning toward Alyssa, but I think he is again open to whatever. If he hears that Turner isn't as loyal as he thinks, I think he'll perfectly fine to go after Turner. If he hears that Taylor might not be as loyal as he thinks, I think he's perfectly fine to go after her. If he feels like Brittany may backstab him and not target Turner next week or something along those lines, I think he would take her out. So we will have to see about all of that. I fully expect that if Taylor wins the veto, she will take the opportunity to evict Turner. If Turner
Mhm.
wins the veto, he should take the opportunity to evict at least either Taylor or Brittany. Use the veto on Alyssa and force one of Taylor or Brittany to leave. But this is Turner we're talking about. He doesn't really make moves without them being co-signed by somebody else. So I don't know that it would actually happen unless Monty actually gives the okay.
I could also just see Turner taking down Alyssa to like build favor with her and then being like, yeah, but Brittany, I don't want her here. Let's get her out. I don't like her. You
I
know,
mean, as of
even
right
though
now,
it's like,
that's like Turner is actively like Brittany needs to go. Taylor should stay.
oh
So it's like it's not like he
God.
wants Taylor, but he can't get Taylor. He actively wants Brittany.
Yeah, get rid of the goatiest goat in the game. Who Indy literally said in the jury segment, I hope I never have to see Brittany's face again.
Yeah. Yeah. Not this is why I'm saying this is a two-way race between Taylor and Monty.
Yeah, definitely. It's fun
But
to
hey,
talk
you
through all
never
the
know.
scenarios. Yeah, it's fun to talk through all the scenarios, though.
Yes. So I think that's about what we have here. I guess if Alyssa or Brittany were to win, that's when things get a bit more interesting because Monty would then have to choose between Taylor or Turner who to put up. And like, let's say Brittany wins and Monty has to choose again between Taylor and Turner. I think his instinct would be, hey, Turner, bro, I need you to go up for me. I can't put Taylor on the block. Although we've seen how he deals with Taylor. I think that he would that would be something he would want to do. But if Brittany's the one off the block, I think he would realize, I would imagine, I can't put Turner up because he'll take Turner out. So he might have to put Taylor up there. And then again, I don't have any reason to believe that Taylor would be evicted at that point because I think he would evict Alyssa over Taylor. If Alyssa's the one to come down, then I think there's a chance that he trusts Turner going up. But again, it's hard to know. I think that's his worst case scenario. I think he really doesn't want Brittany or Alyssa to win because then it's all on him and he doesn't want that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to have to make a decision and show his cards, which
Mhm.
I understand.
Yeah.
Oh, this is such a fun final five. There's like, it's so much more fun when it's fluid and, it's great.
Yes. So, really, I mean, this is looking very good for Monty so far. If he can get away with this week with Alyssa leaving, I think he's in a fantastic place. If Taylor can win this veto and force Turner out, she's in a great place because she can then compete in Final Four, HOH, and veto. Won't have to compete against Turner. And then if she's able to get Monty out, like, woo!
Yeah, that would be, I mean, a final three of Taylor, Alyssa, and Brittany.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Lock it
And
up.
yeah, I mean, and I know people are, who was it? Alyssa was like, there's never been a final three of all girls. And I was like, my brother six says hi.
Mm.
But like that would be so, just the way we started the season to end with three girls at the end, three girls, two of which were not, like one of which was not included in the girls. One was a huge add-on. That would be, yeah. Just looking forward to the rest of this week and how it plays out for sure.
All right. Well, that's about what we've got then. Maggie, anything else you wanted to bring up?
No, just yeah, just the past 2 days you were alone on the update and you did such a great job and I felt really prepared to go into the double eviction, so thank you for that. I had so much fun last night watching the double eviction and I'm excited to see where the rest of the season goes.
Well, thank you. And thank
You're
you
welcome.
to everyone who has joined us this morning. I will, of course, be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern to update you on everything that happens today on the Big Brother 24 live feeds. I think we're just expecting some nominations to lock in. It's not going to be until the veto tomorrow that things start to get even more interesting, I would imagine, but these people have always proven me wrong on that front. So check that out. I'll also be live with Rob for the patron Q&A at, I believe, 4:30 p.m. Eastern today, where we will go over our the interviews the questions that we sent over to Michael and Terrence, see what those are like, and that's about it. You
Also,
can, yep.
I feel like everybody who's watching this will have watched your exit interviews. But if you haven't, What are you doing? They're the best thing about this season are the questions that Taran and Rob have been asking these contestants. I mean, truly iconic exit interviews from you two.
Thank you. So we do our best. You're pretty limited in the jury phase, but we've been trying. We've been trying.
So bad, both of you. Oh my gosh. Like I've at least gasped at every single interview.
All right. Well, you can, of course, find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong. I was live last night reacting to the double eviction. It was very fun. And we've got all kinds of other fun stuff going on over there. So check that out. You can also find some Among Us videos over on YouTube. Good stuff happening over there. And you can see all of what I'm doing over on Twitter at Armstrong Taran. I got House of the Dragon podcast coming out over on Post Show Recaps as well. So check that out.
Wait, after this is over, we got to talk about it because I watched them all and I have so many thoughts. Also,
all right.
it's so fascinating. I'm like deep in it. And then the Queen of England died yesterday. And they were like, we're never going to get another queen in our lifetime. And I'm like, this is giving me House of the Dragon thoughts. So,
oh boy.
Queens, unprecedented queens.
Yes.
Queen's coming to get what's hers.
Yes.
Exactly.
All right. Okay.
Exactly.
Maggie, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at @MLMorgan_. I'm there.
All right. And thank you again. I talked about this yesterday. That we were very close to 100,000 subscribers here on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel, and we hit it yesterday after the update. So thank you to the that was the work of the update watchers. Thank you so much, update watchers. Imagine being not in the first 100,000 subscribers to the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube channel. You're like 1,002 or it's 100,002. Like.
That's embarrassing for you.
On the other hand, now that we're past 100,000, imagine being in the first 100,000, right? Like, this is the time to subscribe. Second 100,000, like, come on.
Cool kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, those other people, they're old. They're tired.
Like the millennials versus the Gen Z, you know?
This is the cool place to be now, all right? So thank you all so much. And I will see all of you next time.